Noon Music Lounge here on the Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest, EJ Christian. We are about to celebrate the 40-year anniversary of one of my personal favorite albums, Metallica's Master of Puppets. Of course, we're going to do this with our good friend of the podcast, writer, author, friend. I mean, he got so much things going on. Eddie Banchs back with us. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Matt, how are you?
I am well, man. I mean, we just literally passed this date 2 days ago. The anniversary of this album. I mean, this album speaks for itself. Like, this is like, to me, I always said Metallica's magnum opus was this record, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's the greatest heavy metal record ever recorded. So yeah.
Yes, I would argue that is definitely in the conversation. Certainly in the Mount Rushmore.
I always say Metallica can do whatever they want. They recorded 4 of the greatest heavy metal records of all time.
Yes.
But, I mean, other bands. You know me. I'm a big Black Sabbath fan.
Of course.
I love Maiden, the classic bands. Priest has some great records. Megadeth, but yeah. And I love I'm a huge fan of like these aggressive hardcore bands and Conversion, whatnot. But I don't think that you can't touch Master.
No, not at all. And again, this album was released on March 3rd, 1986. It is the band's third album. Second on Elektra Records. The band traveled to Sweet Sound Studios in Copenhagen, Denmark, to work with producer Flemming Rasmussen. They chose this location partly because it was quiet and allowed them to focus, and partly because they loved the drum sound Rasmussen achieved on the previous album, Ride the Lightning.
Right.
This album has sold 14 million copies worldwide as of today, 8 million in the U.S. Again, those numbers are amazing for a metal. These are numbers that a metal band should even be in the conversation of. Like, metal it's a big deal, but for any band to sell 14 million copies worldwide as a metal band, and for the record, this is not even the biggest selling album of their entire catalog. Obviously, the Black Album sold way more than that. But the fact that this album sold 30 million, yeah, plus. And the fact that this album sold 14 million worldwide, it's incredible. And again, we'll touch on some of the points on this record, some of the main things in the record. And of course, and at the end of the show, we're going to rank. You're not going to rank power ranking style the 8 songs on the album in terms of preference, in terms of what's better, in terms of preference, because everybody has the different ideas what they like for what songs and what songs they prefer. So this album also marked this being the final album for bassist Cliff Burton, who would later last September pass away in a tragic bus accident while the band was on tour.
A few months after that, he died. Yeah, Sweden.
Yeah, September 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Much of the album's sophisticated sound is owed to him, as Cliff introduces the band to classical music theory, and complex harmonies. Tracks like Orion and the title track featured his lead bass style. Let me ask you a question, Eddie. How do you think his absence changed the DNA for Metallica songwriting on albums after this? Like, just roll on.
He was a big part of their songwriting. If you read Joe McIver's book, Justice for All the Truth About Metallica, he really just hammers and expresses how much of the songwriting he was. They're all very good musicians, but he had a different ear, because they were big metal guys and came from punk and metal, but he liked other styles of music.
Yeah.
Well known. He was a huge REM fan.
He was a ZZ Top fan too. Also, ZZ Top as well.
Yeah, and he was also a big fan of fuck his name, famous jazz bass player. But anyway,
is it Pastorius?
No, it was. I was
No.
gonna say Marcus Miller, but I don't think it was Marcus Miller. I think it was someone
Yeah.
else. But
Okay.
he talks about that. Stanley Clark. That's it. Stanley Clark.
Ah, right. You're right. Yep.
But the way that REM approached songwriting, changed him because it they had more formulaic songwriting, but it was still pretty loose. At least in the early albums they did.
Right.
And that's something he brought to them. He had them like that. He gave them homework. He says, "Listen to these bands." So he always helped put this. He always helped the composition of the songs come together, and he always found a way to create space. When you listen to a lot of jazz, you always find a way to create space, and a lot of improvisation more than likely occurred in the practice space when they were writing their albums. Because instead of being, you saw some kind of monster. I watched it with you.
Yeah, we're watching the theaters together, you and I.
Yeah, it's about them putting together riffs and just playing off a riff and trying to put it together. I mean, Cliff just had that ear. It's like, no, this isn't working, start over. This is what needs to be here. This is how these riffs are going to come together. These are how these parts are going to come together. And I absolutely think that had a huge impact on it. I mean, the album they recorded afterwards, and Justice for All, is fucking phenomenal. But
it's my favorite album of theirs, but it's not definitely right.
No, it's missing. Obviously, the joke is, it's missing a bass player. But the sad thing is, I think there would have been more space because there's a ton of riffs on that record. I think he would have told him to pull it back. Who's to say some of those riffs he could have pulled back, could have been Black Album type riffs or whatnot. But yeah.
Well, a lot of people argue that album was also made because that was part of the hazing process at Jason, and they were still grieving. They're still grieving Cliff's lost.
You can't underestimate grief. You can't take grief and think it doesn't happen. And everyone grieves differently. In this case, it was 3 people grieving differently, plus whoever was around Metallica, the Cliff Bernstein, the manager, several people that were working with the band. That it was a circle was kind of and Jason was a fan that all of a sudden got to be in the band, and it changed a lot. But we could talk about the album. We could talk about the after effects of the album.
Absolutely.
You said this was the 3rd album. I mean, they started from Kill 'Em All,
right? Yeah.
From Ride the Lightning, which is just
right. Absolutely.
I'm still blown away every time I hear Ride the Lightning. By the way,
it's funny.
I got the cassette. I pulled the cassette out.
And that's the weird thing to it. He's like, I'm a diehard Metallica fan. Diehard. I'm wearing a shirt right now on the show, for example. Yeah. And yet, Ride the Lightning, much I like it, it's actually probably my 2nd or 3rd least favorite album. Now, obviously, when I say least favorite, it's I'm not saying it's a bad album because I love all the records for some different reasons, but I listened to that album probably second least of all, or 3rd least of all in comparison to the other albums. It's weird. It's really weird because I acknowledge the fact that the album is amazing, like Fade to Black and obviously Escape and Creeping Death, of course, and all the songs on the Fire, you name it. But for some reason, the first album that really gets me is Puppets. It's always Puppets first. Like you want to kill them all.
I couldn't imagine. I was 6 years old when Master of Puppets was released, but I couldn't imagine being at that age where you're really getting into it. And back then, artists released albums once a year. Sometimes early late 70s, early 80s, artists were still being signed to 2 album a year contracts.
Yeah.
Van Halen. That's why you had so many covers on albums, because they really only had 5 or 6 songs ready to go. They would fill it in with 2 covers and an instrumental or something like that. That's and the albums run times weren't long, which I still appreciate because I think that makes some of those albums even more classic because they just get right to the point. But they, you couldn't imagine just being a fan getting into Metallica and just hearing this. Right. Or maybe this is the first time you heard Metallica in 1986. What the hell sounded like this?
1986. So first off, let me just say for the record, I don't know when you got into metal, let alone Metallica itself. 1986, I was also the same. I was all 6 years old, but I was nowhere close in the radar of Metallica. I wasn't even a heavy metal listener. I wasn't even close to rock music. The most rock I listened to in 1986 was Prince. Honestly, I'm being serious. Prince was part of my gateway to rock.
What music. Are you like? You're a year younger than me.
I'm 45 right now, so I'll be 46.
So we were kids. This was the stuff that. Okay, so we weren't heard of Metallica because we didn't know. No one, unless anyone. I learned about heavy metal by watching MTV.
Right, of course.
Right? But then I learned about heavy metal, like heavy metal, when you meet the cool kids.
Yes.
And that was like my mom's friend. Her son, who was in high school when I was like in grade school, Manny, he was the one that's like, I was like, yeah, I like Poison. You know, who's Poison? He's like, okay, Poison rocks, maybe a little bit, but you want to hear other things.
Yes.
And I remember when I heard Megadeth. I remember when I heard Metallica. I remember when like Sepultura. Like, oh. But when I heard Metallica came first,
do you remember what year it was?
80. It was probably like 80. I may have actually heard Metallica for the first time on MTV. Probably not. You know what? No, I know for a fact I knew who Metallica was before the one video hit MTV. That was for Injustice for All, their fourth album. That was 89.
Right. 88 came out.
89, yeah.
Yep.
I already knew who they were. So it was probably Ride the Lightning. I remember seeing their album cover and whatnot. So someone had told me about them, but I couldn't buy their records because I was a freaking kid.
Right.
I was like 9.
Right. No.
9, 10.
So like my first exposure to Metallica.
If someone's listening, by the way, doesn't realize it. There was no Spotify. You had to have the money to go to the record store to buy the cassette. You know, CDs still weren't a thing yet, so you needed $12 to go buy a damn tape.
Yeah, right. No, my first exposure to Metallica, honestly, was in middle school, and not because of the music, because kids would wear their shirts. Now, the middle school being 91, 92, 93.
Yeah,
the Black Album was out at this point. I was again stood on the radar. Metallica's not even a thing, not even something I even look at.
If you went to a high school that was worth going to, then you knew someone who had Metallica. There's always that kid that was always wearing Metallica shirt. And there's always someone that took their freaking high school yearbook photo in a Metallica shirt.
Yeah, but
that wasn't me in my class, but I know who the kid was.
So I knew the name Metallica, but I didn't know the music. It wasn't until 1996 I got into Metallica, and people always assume that it was the Enter Sandman or Sad But True. No, the song that got into Metallica was the Four Horsemen. I'll kill them all. Yeah. And from 96 on, I was in love. and haven't looked back since in 30 years.
That's all right, yeah. So, no, it's great. That was the whole thing. But Master of Puppets did everything. We'll talk about the other. Let's make a point to talk about the other stuff after they did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's something too also. Because we mentioned about radio and how much record it sold. So Puppets peaked at number 29 on the Billboard 200 without a single music video or significant radio airplay.
It was their third album too.
Yeah, and they weren't on radio yet. They had no video and no radio airplay yet. Now here's a question. Here's a question for you here. In today's world of viral TikTok hits and algorithmic playlists, is it even possible for a heavy metal album to achieve this level of status purely?
No, it's not possible for any record of any artist.
Why?
To achieve this level of stardom, because the music industry has had such a drastic change. Anyone who's doing this stuff now came about. I'm thinking Taylor Swift is probably the last of the big artists
that
have come about during the conservative, like the traditional way of doing business. So you sign album deals, they release you, you go to record stores, you buy things. She started with that. She transitioned into this world. I mean, she's still freaking selling records, but
yeah.
I think that's it. Like when you look at the numbers of albums sold, like albums that have sold X amount of copies, over 5 million, 6 million, 7 million. When you get to the year 2000, you get to year 2010, you start to see that. I think the year 2000 itself was the year 2000 itself was the year of most records sold ever.
Yeah. Okay, that was NSYNC. I was NSYNC, Eminem, Backstreet Boys, all
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park. Massive
Hybrid
records.
Theory was the best-selling album of that year. If not, it was
2001, right? Yeah, 2001. I think it was.
Yeah, but those 2 years were the golden years. Like you thought the 80s and 90s were. Now, get this. This is a true stat, and you know, maybe your listeners don't know me, but this is what I do. I write about music.
Of course you do.
So, there are more songs being uploaded every single day than were released in the entirety of 1989. Right? People thought, well, now there's no barrier to entry. You could just record your own music at home, and then you could basically be your own label. You could be your own publicist. You could be your own everything. You could get cheap clip art to do graphic design. Hell, you can use freaking AI to do an album cover for you, and you can upload it yourself, and you could do your best to get people to listen to it. The problem is that you have option paralysis that is actually real, and it's driving people crazy. This is probably why the classic artists like Metallica are still relevant. This is why acts like Fleetwood Mac and Heart and Bruce Springsteen are still the most listened to artists on Spotify, because it's in your conscious. Like, who can I name? Like, well, I want to listen to a rock and roll album while I make dinner tonight. Okay, I'm just going to put on a Bruce Springsteen album because that's all I can think about. If you like metal, these kids, it's almost like you have to have the history. When you like metal, it's canon. The way that classical music fans, like my brother's an opera singer, the way that he approaches classical music, like, well, here's the standards. You have to know these. If you're going to listen to aggressive music, if you're going to listen to anything that's in the world of hard rock to heavy metal, this is part of your canon. It's Judas Priest, it's Metallica, it's Iron Maiden, it's Black Sabbath.
Right.
That's why I think Metallica keeps that relevancy too. I may have lost my point, my logic here when I was talking about like record sales and how that's changing it all now. The answer is no, it won't. Nostalgia tours are headlining arenas. I would think Bad Bunny is basically an anomaly in the modern era. Because I don't think
there's a cultural thing too also.
Yeah, like I don't know if there's even like a Bad Bunny CD. Like, I haven't seen one at Target or any record store that I go to go buy records. I don't see these things, So I'm thinking maybe that's it. But that you don't get a connection to music when you only listen to it digitally. You make a connection to it when you like. I was pulling out Metallica cassettes because I still have them. I own that. So Metallica has this like major fandom because people. A lot of people bought Metallica records. They still do. I've traveled. If the audience, if you don't know me, I've written 2 books about metal in Africa. I've traveled around the Africa.
They're coming out very soon.
Yeah, in November, but that's not about Africa.
Yeah.
But I have I've met people that say all they want is records. Like, they want to hold CDs, and I would take CDs with me on some of my trips to some pretty remote places. But that was it. But it was Metallica was one of the most requested bands. Like, all right, I took Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I took like 5 copies of that CD with me the last time I was in Africa, and I was just giving it away to people that I thought, well, you helped me a lot with my research. You helped me a lot with my book. They say, well, I'm not the biggest Metallica fan, but holy shit, did they just want a CD? People want to take ownership over something. I think that's what makes the connection to Metallica fans to their music something special. You own that music too. It's yours now. And I'm sure they realize that. But yeah, I think the music industry has drastically shifted. For a band to do what Metallica does now, I mean, even the young bands that are like the biggest bands in metal, there's no way you can do what Metallica did. I mean, they hit the pavement. There was a tape trading culture. See, Spotify kills all that because, only the cream rose to the top in the old model.
Right. So true.
That's so true. It. And, people say, well, yeah, record companies signed a whole bunch of artists that didn't make it. They released the records and they just didn't make it. Music is the ultimate democracy. Okay? You determine what's going to succeed and what's going to win. Okay? And these bands did it. The reason why Metallica made it to where they were before is because no one knew how to market this type of music. This is the underground.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they did it. And they hit the road. The tape trading culture, which was born in the San Francisco thrash metal scene, which is the scene that Metallica came from, it became global. Magazines, metal magazines that were out, Hit Parader, Circus, Cream magazine, they had things in the back of them that had like pen pals where you could write to people. You could say, I live in Vietnam. I really like this Iron Maiden. Can someone please send me cassettes of other types of music that have this, and here's my address. And you would actually print that in a magazine and people could get music that way. And then you could just turn around and send back a cassette tape of saying, well, here's some other bands that I know of, and here's like 2 Vietnamese bands that are playing rock and roll. Maybe you'll like them, maybe you won't, but it doesn't matter. That's what we did back then. We trusted each other with music, and we listened to it because we had nothing better to do, and we found whether we liked it or not. Just turned out a lot of people really like Metallica.
yeah, for real. And obviously, as you're recording this here, on the night of March 5th, 2026, obviously, they just announced their residency in Vegas at the Sphere. Yeah. And okay, so this is insane. You talk about like the cult following this band. So the idea was they're gonna do 8 shows in October this year. Okay, the demand's been insane. So they added 6 more shows on Monday. Demand there's insane. Then 3 hours ago they added 6 more shows. Right, right, and that's in February. Just an hour ago they added 4 more in March next year. So they have 24. They're doing 24 shows at the Sphere. The demand is insane.
I thought about going too, but yeah, no, it just doesn't get old because Metallica has a young audience now.
The three generations.
Yeah, and that's because of parents and whatnot who would be talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, it's with you. One of the things about this album that stands out too is James Hetfield's rhythm guitar work on this album. It's often cited as the gold standard for metal. The band adopted a technical wall of sound created by James, strict down picking technique, especially on Battery and Master of Puppets. Hold on, my screen is. Okay, here we go. Producer Flem Rasmussen actually had the band tuned slightly lower than usual so he could speed up the tape during mixing for extra tightness without losing the pitch. What do you make of Hetfield's guitar work on this album, Eddie? And you're a guitar player, so you
so really there's 2 things here that you need to be stated about that. They did tune down to what you just said was right, but they played the album. They played the album at about 90 to 95% of the speed.
Right.
So he sped up the tape, and then the pitch came up a little bit, so it sounded like it was in standard tuning. But they did it so that no notes were missed. That level of tightness, that level of precision, is just disgusting on this record. And you can't. Yeah. James Hetfield is the greatest rhythm guitar player in the history of music. Period.
I agree.
That's it. He needs to get spoken about that way, the same way Dave Mustaine should not be ignored too.
I think Mustaine's the best overall guitar player in the genre ever. In my opinion.
No, but he's listen, shit. What James Hetfield does is disgusting. Right, with Battery and whatnot. It's all downpick. So I don't know if there's a video here. You can see. You seen people strum guitars, and then with the virtuosity that comes with playing heavy metal, you have these like this tight right hand. So they call it. You do palm mute, where you actually put the palm of your hand on the guitar string to create that kong 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 sound, because you're muting the string a little bit, but you're still getting some resonance out of the string itself, and you can still chord or play a note, and you do that, but that precision picking goes up and down. You can go really fast, but it's a snap of the wrist, but you really have to practice for a very long time before you can get to a speed. When you're breaking down notes, like quarter notes, and then half, double that is eighth, and then 16th, 32nd, and 64th. That you're playing some really fast notes when you're getting like 64 notes. What James Hetfield does is he does that. He could play these breakneck speeds only by hitting the string one time on a down. He's never coming back up like some of these other guys are. Just imagine shaking your hand. He's just straight down. That's
chug.
Just straight chug. That right hand of his is just something insane. And that just comes from, it's probably a stubborn trick. It's probably like something maybe no one showed him how to do the upstroke, but I don't know. I never read the book about him. I want to know how he came up with that. Like, it's not a natural way of playing guitar, but it seems to work. It just seems to be that every time we talk about some virtuosic musicians, we're talking about something that they're doing wrong. These happy accidents. These accidents have created some wonderful music, and that's him doing this wrong is what's. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to say. James Hetfield is awesome, and he's doing vocals on top of all this.
Yep, he's the lead singer. Yeah,
He's doing vocals.
He's the lead singer. He's the very core of the band. You know what I'm saying? It's what they call a down picking masterclass, man. Bottom line.
It's hard. It's hard to do. You could play guitar for a very long time, and you could try to teach yourself to down pick. And most guys can. I say women. One of my favorite Pittsburgh bands, Code Orange, and Reba. She is a straight down stroker too, but that stuff doesn't get sustained as long as it does. Like, it's usually just like go, but nothing like that. Especially if you listen to like Disposable Heroes, like
don't get me started that song. That song is amazing. Whew. I love it live, especially too. Let's talk about the Stranger Things Renaissance. In 2022, the title track exploded back on the mainstream via Stranger Things. Has the Eddie Munson effect helped or hurt the album's legacy?
No, it's helped it big time. First of all, they got in the top 10.
Yeah. In 2022.
Metallica made the top 10
in 2022
as a single. They never had a top 10 single ever. They don't need one. There's like a band like artists like Fish or Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
there's a few that have become massive stars without having hits. So Metallica was one of those, but then they had one because of the TV show.
Yeah.
That's the moment though. It was a TV show that connected well with a certain demographic, and that demographic was hungry for nostalgia, and they found it. And if they didn't hear Metallica before, they loved it because heavy metal. It's quite different. It can bring a lot of excitement to someone. And
they really embraced it, man.
What's his name? Eddie Munson.
Eddie Munson, yeah.
That's the character. That's not the actor. The character.
Right? Yeah. I think you watched the show, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch it. I need to watch it. To be honest, I watched the first few episodes of the first season, and I liked it, but at the time I wasn't in the mood to watch it. So
I think that was season 4.
Okay.
There were two songs from that season that catapulted those artists to the top 10, and it was Metallica with the song Master of Puppets, and then it was Kate Bush, with her song Running Up That Hill, which also came out in the 80s.
Okay.
And that just happened because there was a character, two focal characters from that season, Eddie Munson, and then I forget her name. She's played by Sadie Sink. The actress's name Sadie Sink, but she was a big Kate Bush fan. Her character,
right?
And they kept playing that song over and over again in order to help her, not to ruin a plot, but I'm sure people seen it. But so those two songs absolutely catapulted to like new heights and new levels because of what that Stranger Things did. But that placement like that for songs and popular TV shows or movies have always helped. I mean, you can think about soundtracks, famous movie soundtracks, and what they were able to do for artists in the past. So,
right.
Not surprised. To me, what I was surprised about it is probably the most aggressive song to ever be a top 10 song.
Yeah, without question. Here's the question for you. I want you to answer here.
It's like 8 minutes long.
Yes, 8.5, 8:25. I think it's 8:29 or something like that. Maybe 8:38.
Not cut for the streaming era, but fuck the streaming era.
Right, exactly. Here's a question for you. I want you to answer. Does seeing Master of Puppets on the Billboard Hot 100 many years after its release validate its timelessness?
Yeah, of course.
Or does it feel like gatekeeping is finally dead in the metal community?
I mean, partially both. Gatekeeping shouldn't have ever been a thing. You want more people to listen to metal, not less people to listen to metal.
That's also immaturity, though.
That's also immaturity, but it's also because it's a lot of very vulnerable people who think they found something that connects to them, but and they want to protect it because it's what makes them feel whole. It's what makes some people feel human. This music can do that. It's so powerful. But then I've been to shows where I remember seeing Slipknot play in clubs. I saw Korn play in a club in Pittsburgh in 1995 called the Metropole.
Oh, wow. First album, too. Wow.
Woo. Yeah. But then, with an unsigned Limp Bizkit opening. But then
wow, okay.
I saw Korn play in arena. And I've seen Slipknot play in an arena, and you'd rather have more people there.
Of course.
So Yeah, you can say what you will, but there's just something special about being in a bigger room with more people. I think right now, like the band that's coming up in the aggressive music world, like Knock Loose. I think that like I saw Knock Loose play a small show, and I've seen Knock Loose play at like a House of Blues style, like 3,000 person room, and it's
Yeah.
just wow. And you'd rather see bands like that ascend because like you want more people to be involved with this, but so yeah, I think it's okay. So the gatekeeping thing is kind of nonsense, but it's also of course it adds validation to the sound. It just doesn't get old. Remember, like good music is good music, but also like it was recorded differently too. There is research that shows you how the recording of a song can or an album really helps
Yeah. Absolutely.
absorb. Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you
And
record things organically, like it's not perfect the way things are now.
And the gatekeeping thing is huge too, because especially for Metallica, because Metallica is literally that kind of band that literally came from the ground up. They didn't come out of nowhere. They were building this to a crescendo. They came from the garage, and they were touring,
Incognito
and
or
they went on
whatever. Yeah,
radio for the first couple records, and then all of a sudden the thing gets bigger, it gets bigger. Then they're on radio, then they're mainstream. Then the Black Album comes out, and now they're the biggest band on the fucking planet. And then, so a lot of fans feel a certain kind of way that the band I used to have ownership to for the first 10 years, I got a shirt with some dude who's not really a big metal fan, but loves Enter Sandman.
that was a huge hit. I
Yeah.
mean, that's also a sports anthem too. So
Yeah.
tells you how versatile some of these songs can be.
Shout out to Mariano Rivera.
What's that?
Shout out to Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, and Virginia Tech football.
We're in football too now, also. Yeah. Is in on it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's a big
mean,
deal.
it works. It works to some capacity, but they created a bounce. It's a
Yeah.
bouncy riff, and
Yeah.
they did that in the time of Nirvana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
so
they're
one band
humongous.
you couldn't push out like. I mean, how many copies did Nevermind sell? And then how many copies did Black Album
I
sell?
think their man sold close to 30 million copies also.
Yeah, how many copies? No, not quite. But think about Metallica. The Black Album still sells like 40,000 copies a year.
But the Black Album is at 30 million worldwide.
Yeah, it's still selling like the aphorism that the Jason Newsted, who's no longer in Metallica,
Mm-hmm.
he lives off a Black Album. That's it.
He sure does. He has a writing credit also on the record too. Also,
Yeah, but he said that. Yeah, my favorite song on that record. But he
My
said
Friend
that
Misery.
like, yeah, he says I live off of Black Album checks. All the other money I get from Metallica, I just donate to charities.
That's awesome.
So that tells you how powerful the Black Album is.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's talk thematics real quick on the record. The album's theme revolves around the loss of control, whether to drugs, Master of Puppets, war, Disposal Heroes, or religion, Leper Messiah. Does the Master pulling the strings today look more like social media algorithms and corporate control than the 80s themes of cocaine and TV evangelism?
Yeah, because you could say social media is a drug. The metaphors all work quite well because people are addicted to social media, and social media companies have already admitted that they're meant to addict you. They're meant to hook you in because it increases their revenue dollars. So yeah, very much so. That's still there. I think that's what Disposable Heroes.
Yeah.
Just that name alone, like
Yeah.
be careful who you lionize. It's
Yeah.
what it is, and I know that given the we're talking about this, and our country's just attacking Iran.
Yeah.
As we speak, but like those are the there's that theme of authoritarianism. Not to play anything, but like the master puppets, like who's actually pulling the strings.
Right.
I mean, people have been using that for so many metaphors for so many different things. I'm always careful to draw those comparisons anyway. Having traveled a lot and getting studying politics, I'm like, we do, but people talk about that with war. Metallica has always been drawn to war, but Cliff Burton was a big reader. He was a big avid fan of H.P. Lovecraft.
Lovecraft, right? Yep.
And these are some of the things that he's written about too. So yeah, that has something to do with it too, because Burton introduced Hetfield to a lot of these things. He made him a better songwriter.
Yeah.
He told him how to write a song. That's what. That's why Cliff Burton was just is still missed because, yeah, I don't like playing that game, that speculation game. What if? We don't know.
We'll get there in a second. I got a winner for you coming up in a second. No. Before we get to the rankings here, I will say though, Eddie, though the one song that really spoke to me when I became a fan of the band, especially given where I was at in my life at the time, Leper Messiah. Being someone, and you know this too, also being someone like myself who was raised in a Christian home, born again, and all that, and having conflicting feelings about not necessarily my beliefs, but more so how we operate in those said beliefs and whatnot, and what's right or wrong. And then seeing at the time in the 80s where evangelism was huge. We had all these scandals with Jimmy Swaggart, all this stuff going on in 86 and 87. It really spoke to a lot of the themes that Metallica went through as well, too. Also, with James's Christian Science background, he speaks on this also on the God That Failed in the Black Album as well, too. So, Leper Messiah for me was actually very personal for me. That really started my journey to opening up more into broader thinking outside of religion.
Yeah, which is important to do.
Yeah,
you didn't have to surrender things, but at least with music, when you really connect with something, you don't have to. It's different now because this generation doesn't seem to get it. But you can have disagreements with people, but you're understanding their perspective on something. I think James Hetfield did a great job of articulating his perspective on these things.
He did.
The Christian Science background was massive. It's a huge. It's not any style of Christianity. This is a pretty extreme style of Christianity.
Yeah.
And he just walked away from it, but in a way, so he just walked away from his own family in a way.
Yeah.
But that's, of course that had a big effect. This is why Metallica probably means so much to him. This is his world now.
His
family's now global, and it's millions of people.
Absolutely. Here's how important this album is too. In 2015, Master of Puppets became the first metal album ever preserved in the National Recording Registry.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
I remember following videos. I knew the woman that helped Fleming Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Along, and he went to she's actually from the Cleveland area, and she took him to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he spoke a lot about that record. He does so many interviews still about these Metallica records.
He should. He has a lot to be proud of, man. He
produced, of course. And it's good that it's a part of the registry. People need to know what this is. And you learn a lot. This changed the way that bands recorded albums, too. Mm-hmm. That tight, like we just talked about, that tight breakneck precision.
Right.
What he did, how he slowed down the tape and said we could do this. And lots of bands started emulating that. Lots of engineers started emulating that, too, with other styles of music, too. Just you can speed up the tape.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a question for you, though, in regards to this. If you had to pick just one other metal album to join it in the Library of Congress for its cultural, historical, or aesthetic significance, which one deserves a spot and why? It could be any album. It could be another Metallica album. It could be any metal record.
Without even thinking about first Black Sabbath record.
Okay.
That's it. That's needs to be. They're so different sounding. They're so different. That's such a mid-tempo, slow album, but it opened up. It started a whole genre of music. I mean,
it's a tough question for me to answer. Like my go-to sometimes. My go-to is Megadeth, Rest in Peace. That's my go-to. Yeah. But I don't think that's really. But is that significant in any way? Maybe not really. But I mean, obviously, Sabbath is definitely an easy answer there too. Also, because of especially now with Ozzy not being gone almost a year, it makes sense. It's hard. That's a tough question actually. I got to really think about that one day, honestly. But I'll go with your answer. I like because Sabbath is important. Sabbath even probably this if not more important than Metallica to the genre because
there's no better like. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be Sabbath. Period. That's shocked that Sabbath wouldn't be included in that. I mean, maybe because they're British. I don't know, but they.
Well, it's Ozzy. You give him a pass.
Yeah.
You give him a pass.
I mean, this is Master's such a. This I do say. I've always said this. This is the greatest heavy metal record ever recorded. Period.
As I say all the time, and people talk about unskippable records, but they say those things and don't mean it. I mean when I say that this album, for me personally, is an unskippable record. When I play this album, I don't ever skip a song because I don't
know why people do that anyway with songs, but this one is like Yeah, I guess maybe. I guess some records just suck.
So, well, some records have songs that are filler material that even if you like the song, skip it. No big deal.
There's nothing
Not
bad
this
on
album.
this record, and it's
Not this album.
so meticulously well sequenced. And
It
it's
really
tough to
is. It really is.
yeah.
It
It's probably
really
why
is.
some of those songs stand out even more is because of where they are on the record. I hate to say it because I had homework assignment here, but
Yeah, because I especially love the bridge from Orion to Damage Inc. 7 and 8 to end the record.
damn, yeah,
Incredible,
of course.
incredible bridge there.
No, are you kidding me? It's Damage Inc. has the coolest intro. And
Oh,
look, that's something that's done. There's a swell on the beginning of Damage Inc. It's a volume knob on the guitar. How many people started doing that after that? Lots of people. How many bass players started using wah pedals after Cliff Burton started using it?
yeah,
Lots of people.
yeah.
How many guys
Yeah,
tried the downstroke? Lots of people.
exactly.
How many
Last
bands
thing.
started to slow down their tempos that hard? How many bands started to
Yep.
put instrumental songs on albums? Yeah.
And I always say most guitar players I talk to that play rock or metal, almost I would dare say 85% of them say that this album is the biggest influence or one of the biggest influences to when they start playing guitar in the first place. So I'll say that. One last thing, get to the rankings here. And I know we teased it a little while ago, the What If scenario, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. So Puppets is often called the perfect metal album, which we both agree with that. Had the band not suffered the accident in '86 with Cliff dying, of course, would Metallica still have moved towards a Black Album sound in the '90s, or would they have continued down the path of progressive 8-minute thrash epics? You think?
No, I think they would have done the Black Album.
I agree with you too, also, especially with Cliff being in the band.
They would need to have a break. They would need to have like a radical we've already done this. Let's see what else we can do. And they explored so many new sonic textures on that record too. And I think that's partially Jason Newsted helping shape their sound too with that.
Yeah.
That record to me is also pretty fucking good. And it's weird that I didn't want to listen to it for so long because I was like tired of it. But I put it back on. Like I remember 5-6 years ago, I had to rebuy a copy because I didn't have one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was that guy. And then I bought it on vinyl. And I was just kind of like in shock listening to it from beginning to end. I'm like, I guess it's because you hear Enter Sandman so much and you heard Nothing Else Matters so many places.
It's radio.
You hear that a lot. Bar bands do that song and it's been covered. It's great, whatever. But damn, that record rips front to back. Every song on there is just a banger. And
I think, yeah,
take Sandman out, you take Nothing Else Matters out. There's so many up tempo songs on that record. Sad But True's a mid tempo riffer. You know.
And the best part of that song too, also, is that the original version of that song was a lot faster. Bob Rock told him to slow down the tempo. Let that thing breathe a little bit, and it breathes a lot better. It's a lot better slower now than it was the way it was written because it was written a lot faster tempo wise. So
yeah, and and that's probably the best sounding record ever recorded too.
Yes, I agree with that. It was the album that also got me into wanting to become a musician because watching the year and a half of Metallica, the first tape being, of course, the making the album, second tape being, of course, the tour. Watching the way they recorded the songs, the wall of sound, the just the doubling the guitars and the way Bob Rock went about doing that record. People always ask about Cliff Burton. Oh, Cliff never done this. Bullshit. I can argue Cliff's spirit was in that record because Cliff Burton was more diverse musically than anybody in that band. And on top of that, also too, the guys said themselves after the Justice tour, they were tired of doing 8-minute songs. They were over it.
Right.
They got tired of it. So to their credit, they said they were aware, something different now. Challenge us now.
I don't think they put a Nothing Else Matters on a record without Cliff Burton being a part of them still.
Right.
I still think Cliff Burton's a part of their band in some regards. Like they still haven't forgotten about him. They still think about him a lot, but I still think yeah. But it's tough. It's tough for fans to do what they do. Fans can be pretty cruel. But geez, Cliff Burton was something else.
Yep. And the thing is, I think Cliff even more so. People told the Black Album. I think Cliff would have loved the stuff they did on Load.
Yeah, they experimented. It's that's a rock record. They left the genre. I would say, of heavy metal, but they don't. Like I said, they released these albums. You take the first 4 Metallica records. You take the first 5 with Black Album.
Yep.
They can do whatever they want. They eventually returned to their sound. I mean, they released Load, Reload, and Saint Anger, which you like.
Yeah. Okay, Saint Anger. Okay. So you
say
Lulu that
wait.
You say that based on when at the time when we met was in 2003, 2004 when the album came out. So I was a little more biased. Look, I like the song of Saint Anger. I hate the production. I love the song.
Oh, production's terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
But they because you recorded, and it's the same guy as Bob Rock. Like,
yeah.
You put out the best sounding record of all time. You put out
they try to change the dynamics a little bit. Let's go to the garage sound. Okay.
All right, Lulu. We don't even talk about because it's not a Metallica record.
I actually played Lulu a couple months ago.
Look, it's a Lou Reed record with Metallica on it.
Right. If you took away Lou Reed's vocals out of there, maybe
they came back.
Jam.
Yeah, they came back. They got Death Magnetic and Hardwired and 72 Seasons are pretty strong records.
Well, I love those records. I do. But I do think they would have still gone on the same path, honestly. I think nothing changes, honestly.
There's a song on each one of those records that could easily be. Like with Hardwired, there's 2 or 3 songs on that record. The opening song and the last song on that record could easily be on any of the early Metallica records.
Of course.
I say that with 72 Seasons. Track 2 on that record?
Which one? 72 Seasons?
Yeah, just
Shadow Swallow?
Pounds.
I love that song.
That could be on
That's classic Metallica. That'd be on Justice, actually.
It could be a Justice song. Yeah, it's just they still have it. They still have it in them. Yeah. They don't have to do those things. I really wish that people would realize musicians as artists are allowed to evolve.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're allowed to try new things. You're allowed to evolve. You don't have to compromise with who you are. I don't think they ever did. They were still ultimately just a band that wanted to play loud music and rock music and hard rock music. But, when you grow up on... They did, these covers albums they've done has really been really wonderful because it allows you to see their blueprints. Like, this is the music they grew up on. And if it's Bob Seger and if it's Thin Lizzy and like the Misfits, like that's who they were. They're pretty eclectic sounding artists.
I wish they didn't look Garage. I wish they didn't look Garage Inc. I wish they did one more.
Yeah, but
they should.
Maybe they will. But I think it's great that they do these things because it just goes to show you like maybe they put those out to probably send a big message. Like they did Load and Reload and people gave them flack, but isn't Whiskey in a Jar? People hear that like. Now you hear the way Metallica does it, like, huh?
That's the goes to with those records that they met those songs, like Metallicaized, we don't call it. So I like that about those records too. Also, all right. Great. Let's get to the rankings here, shall we? Again, Puppets has 8 songs. We're gonna go power ranking style. This is all based on personal preference, not based on what's better. It's based on what we prefer.
Yeah,
we're gonna go 8-1. Okay. Eddie, give me your 8th favorite song on the Master Puppets album.
Just for the audience, the album running, the actual running title, like sequence of the album is Battery, Master of Puppets, The Thing That Should Not Be, track 3. Track 4 is Welcome Home, Sanitarium. Disposable Heroes, track 5. Track 6 is Leopard Messiah. Orion's track 7, and the 8th song is Damage Inc.
Okay, number 8 for you.
That's it. My number 1 is because every time I think of this album...
Wait. Was number 8? Well, number 1, number 8, because number 8...
8. Oh, 8.
8-1, power ranking style.
I have 8 as Damage. Like, I think if I'm redoing the album myself, I still want to end the album on Damage.
Wait. Is this based on personal preference of song? Yeah. Okay.
For me.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. I like Damage also as well, too. It's a little higher on my list, though. My 8th favorite song on this album is Leopard Messiah. And again, let me say for the record, any of these songs outside my number 1 could be number 2 any day of the week. Again, these songs are all 8 of these songs to me are A or A+.
Any of these songs are most bands' number ones.
Exactly. So it's not a knock. Number Messiah is a phenomenal song. I'm just saying that, and it's only because of how I'm feeling today. So Number Messiah is my 8th favorite song on the record. I love the theme on it. Obviously, I love the song. The song live is really cool also too. It's like a jam almost. So I do like it. Yeah. All right, Eddie, your 7th favorite song on Master Puppets is
Leper Messiah.
Okay. I like that. My number 7 for me is it might surprise you a little bit, but here, follow me here, is Battery.
Okay.
And I love Battery. And again, I love Battery live, especially. That's one of my favorite live Metallica songs.
Right.
Nuts. I've hurt my neck a few times at their concerts going, listen to that song. But I love the intro. The acoustic intro is amazing. Oh my god.
Oh, the way that the intro for the album is gorgeous. That's Kurt Hammett showing flex, as a kid say, flexing.
Exactly. All right, Eddie, your 6th favorite song on the album is what?
The Thing That Should Not Be.
I love that fucking song, bro. My balls drop when I hear that song every single time. I just love it. For me,
I just painted my bedroom the other day, and I put this record on a few times. And yeah, you're right. Any of these songs hit that. You get moving when this record's on. Yeah.
Exactly. Hell yeah, man.
Go ahead. Where are you at?
Number 6 for me. Might surprise you again, but follow me. Orion.
Oh, right.
Should be a little higher, in my opinion, but I love. I mean, this is Cliff Burton's swan song, in my opinion. This is you think Orion, think of Cliff Burton, and to me, I've become more appreciative of the song in recent years. They play a lot. They play it live a lot more in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's Robert.
Yeah, yep. Robert nails it. So, but yeah, still a phenomenal song. I do get a little emotional at times listening to it. That middle part after the bass. The solo, in the middle, going into the last part of the song, I always get a little teary-eyed every time.
It's kind of special, that song, because if you just want people to know who Cliff Burton was as a musician, just play that song.
That's all you need to do. That's the song. You want Cliff Burton? Boom, Orion, and then leave it alone. That's it.
Got the swelling bass. Bass players didn't do that, and then you can hear his jazz chops.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's amazing. All right, Eddie, your 5th favorite song on the album is.
Actually, my 5th is Orion.
Okay.
Which it was tough to put here, but I was like, because if I'm resequencing the record, I'm putting this still in the middle of the record. But
yeah,
fuck. Yeah, this is such a great song. By the way, one of my favorite current bands is Mastodon.
Oh, I love Mastodon.
They recorded a really good cover of Orion. I urge people to give that one a listen too.
I'll check it out. I'll definitely find that. Yeah, I saw him recently. 3 years ago.
It's the perfect band to cover that song. Orion is Mastodon, by the way. Of all these new bands now, that's the perfect band to be doing Orion covers.
Yeah, I just saw him go Hero like 2.5 years ago. Amazing live.
I tried to go see that in Pittsburgh that day, and there was a Pirates game at the same time, and the stadium and the venue were right next to each other. Couldn't get anywhere near it.
Oh wow!
My wife and I got out of that traffic and went to a bar instead.
All right, my number 5. I love this song. My number 5 is Damage Inc. I loved especially watching James play it live. The opening riff. After go and it has a slide. Oh my god, love that. That's a lot. And watch him live do it too. Also, he looks all pissed off and shit. I'm like, the best. But the intro's amazing too. Also,
yeah, and that's some really tight guitar playing on that song.
Fucking no regrets.
I love that. And there's a part in that where he just stops. It stops and he says, "Go."
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know how many bands? This was another thing that's come from that record. There's another one right there. How many times I've seen bands now where they just stop, go, and you hear someone on stage just yell that.
Well, yeah, and he's done that a lot since that record. That was the first time he did that on any Metallica record, and then after that, he's done that a few times on.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's been often replicated, and that's where it came from, and whatever.
Yep. It's on Hetfield.
It's the rest of you.
All right, number 4 for you, Eddie. 4th favorite song on the album.
Master.
Me too.
Title track. Is
me
it?
Too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Put that right in the middle. Break it up.
and it's arguably a top 10 song for me all time, Metallica song. So arguably, I think it depends on the day I wake up on the side of. One day I'm gonna do one day on my blog. I'm gonna actually take all their songs and just rank them, all of the songs, and rank them for me.
That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe. It's a little bit of a project, but maybe I'm on board one day. I'll do it.
Rob Sheffield does that on Rolling Stone's website with Taylor Swift's music.
Yeah, I know. I plan on doing it with Michael Jackson. I'm gonna do that one sometime this year. Michael Jackson songs and rank
a lot
them.
there too. Metallica probably has more songs.
Yep, exactly. All right, number 3 for you, Eddie.
Battery.
Again, as I said earlier, that song live, the best. It's the best. It's up there with Creeping Death. It's favorite live songs of theirs. 3 for me is the thing that should not be. Okay. Every time I hear this fucking song, I want to break somebody's face. I think I texted you that on the phone like 2 days ago. And the worst part too also is at the end of the song we hear that scratching. What was that? Is that an extra guitar?
Maybe it's right, maybe it's Cliff doing something cool.
But it's so cool though. But that little scratching at the end of when it fades out, and it fades out to the end, that part makes that song even more incredible because it adds to the dynamic what that song really is. It's heavy, it's loud, it's boisterous, it's just dropping your balls when it. Oh my god! I get every time I hear that song, I get angry. I get angry every time I hear that song. It works a nerve. It really does. All right, we might have the same number 1 and 2. We'll see. Number 2, what do you got?
Disposable Heroes.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too. And again, it's to me what made this number 2 for me, honestly, is the live version of the song. They don't play it often live though, but when they play it live, it hits.
I gotta find one.
There's one from 2009.
Didn't they do this album?
At Rock 'em Ring.
Front to back, right?
Yes.
Rock 'em Ring is a festival in Belgium.
Belgium. Was it Belgium or was it Brazil?
Belgium.
Okay. Which one's the Brazil one? There's one in Brazil that happens every year that's really, really popular.
Rock in Rio.
Rock in Rio. Thank you. Sorry, I was off a little bit. But yeah, oh, it's the best. The best. We gotta say the top 2. We gotta say top 2.
Disposable Heroes is like I was talking to this guy today. Like I wrote a book about hardcore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did.
That's the third one. It's the breakdown is such a symbolic part of hardcore music. It's kind of what identifies things hardcore for fans and bands. Like you got to have sick breakdowns, and I think that I write in the book that they basically were taking from thrash metal, because Slayer probably has an early example of a great breakdown. I mean, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath has a great breakdown. The song itself,
right?
But that song, "Rain and Blood" by Slayer goes judge it, judge it, judge it, judge it, batch it, judge it, batch it. And that's tight.
Yep. That's
tight. But Disposable Heroes, just listen to the opening riff. And then it's just the way that snare drum just smacks. There's no hi-hat. There's no bass drum. Just and then when he kicks in with the bass drum on that.
Yeah.
Good luck.
By the way,
I punch my steering wheel when I'm like, driving.
By the way, underrated part of that song too. Also, Cliff under too. Also, making a lot of noise at the bottom.
Yeah, he has like that.
He's doing a lot of shit back there. Doing a lot of stuff back there.
The first minute of that song alone are just.
Well, we have the same.
Up there for me because if I'm going to start a record and I just that riff, like goddamn, I hear bands. Dude, Chimera. Band from the 2000s to 2010s from Cleveland, Ohio covered this song, by the way. They covered Disposable Heroes. And the impact of that opening riff, it felt like, you see why it matters.
Yep. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So we got the same top 2.
So that's why that song to me is I wanted to make that the number one song,
I
but I couldn't because to me, I always associate this album with one particular song.
this one, Sanitarium.
Sanitarium, yeah.
Yeah, it's Sanitarium to me is a top 3 to 5 Metallica song for me all time.
Yeah, that's partially why. Every time I think of Ride the Lightning, I think of Fade to Black. Every time I think of Black Album, I think of My Friend the Misery or The Unforgiven. Those two songs are great off that record for me.
Right.
Like they're my favorite Metallica song. With this one, like it personally, it just hits. Like it's an emotional song. The opening riff, the
that opening riff, it's something you've never heard before, and you've never heard since.
No, people have done it. I think you got these bands that are like Code of Luna, Isis, Pelican. That's what they're doing. This is what they call like shoegaze, like instrumental metal or whatever. That's what they're doing. They took this is Metallica showing you that they were ahead of the curve. This is probably Cliff Burton. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that came from. This is what happens when you listen to REM a lot. This is what happens when you listen to your jazz records a lot. You're gonna have things like that. You're gonna have riffs like that. Boom, bam, so play with a harmonic and,
Yeah, that opening riff. Oh wait, the whole song. It's so atmospheric from the opening riff, opening chord structure into like the riff, and then just everything, and then it fits the lyrics too. Also, especially. It's just the marriage between the lyrics and the chord structure and the riffs and James's vocals. It's a perfect marriage. It's such an original song too. Also, it's so original. That's why I've always
huge.
Loved
It's epic. It's a ballad without being a ballad. It's a thrash metal song without being a thrash metal song.
Exactly.
Shit, I don't know what to say about that.
It's like everything that. I love Fade to Black, but why I love this on Fade to Black is because of it's just different. And I love Fade to Black. Of course, Fade to Black is just that Sanitarium's just an evolution of what Fade to Black was. You know what I'm saying? But by the way, my favorite version of the song is on the live Shipment and Purge live CD from '93, Mexico City. That version is epic.
Of what? Fade to Black?
No, of Sanitarium. It is my favorite song on that entire live concert. Is that version. So
I gotta hear that one. That's on Live Ship Engine Purge from Mexico City. That's one of the most famous live albums probably of all time.
Yep, number 4. So track number 4. I always play that song and I always get goosebumps every time.
Yeah, I may have to give that one a go here.
Yeah, you should. So
they've released so many live albums. When I saw them for the Hardwired Self-Destruct tour in Pittsburgh, after the show with my ticket, I went to the website and I got a download. I got the audio of the concert I had just attended.
Yeah. Did they play Sanitarium?
No.
I don't think they play that tour at all. I know I saw that same tour also. They didn't play Sanitarium. However, they played Sanitarium last year in Tampa, which is crazy because like they follow a similar pattern of songs they play on the Friday and the Sunday, but that slot they play Sanitarium wasn't going to be for either Fade to Black or Sanitarium. And luckily for me, they played Sanitarium that night. So it was a great night.
She wanted to go to Vegas for Halloween, go see the Metallica.
Well, I'm planning on going. I just don't know when I'm going yet though. I'm waiting for the tickets to come down a little bit more because the hype is huge right now, but it will temper down a little bit in the next month or two, and tickets will come down a little bit. So once everything tempers down, I'll look at some prices and see what's doing there. Yeah, but
I do want to see them again.
How much time you see? I see them 5 times. How much time have you seen them live? Twice?
Just twice.
Wow.
I don't know why I keep missing, but I just couldn't go, or like I didn't want to, shockingly. But other things I was just busy in my life doing other things. I mean, you live your life. I come close to seeing them in Europe. So I was just traveling, and one day I found myself in Oslo.
The
only time I've ever been to Oslo, and Go figure. Metallica was playing there that night.
Yeah.
With Mastodon and Lamb of God as support.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah,
That
and
would a phenomenal show.
Right. So then I was really close to going until I saw how much the tickets were going for that day. But there were still tickets available at the arena, and I was like, I'm here. I want to go see Oslo. I should have gone to see Metallica. There's a lot of things that I do back in life, like let's just fucking go see Metallica.
Yeah, so this friends of mine telling me, dude, don't waste time. I know you've seen him before, but go see him because you're gonna regret not going if you don't see him.
So like, they did that tour in the States with Gojira as a supporting band,
mm-hmm.
and a part of me was like, I should go. I think Lamb of God was on that too, but I was like, I was in Orlando and I went to see the Gojira off night show in Orlando instead, and they absolutely destroyed the social in Orlando. As opposed to just going to see Fort Lauderdale seeing Metallica with Gojira. And like, yeah, you were at that show. I was at the Orlando Gojira show.
Yeah. So anyway, this is once again 40th anniversary of Metallica Master of Puppets. Eddie, good job as always. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here? And they got a new book obviously coming very soon.
In November. It comes out in November. It's Hardcore is Everything. Music, Identities, and Ideologies. That is out in November via Bloomsbury.
Yes, and obviously you'll be on the show a lot more throughout the year, so we'll obviously have more time to talk about it, the book, as we get closer to release date. So Eddie, good job as always, man. Again, 40 years of Master Puppets to both, you and I both agree, probably the greatest metal album in the history of the genre. So
yeah, crank it, man. That's a great record.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.